Although the EU has some of the world's strictest air quality rules, a new study shows pollution levels across the continent are still high. Deutsche Welle correspondent Warda Imran joins us now from Berlin. Warda, where in Europe is the biggest concern? Where are air pollution levels really high?
Well, the data analyzed by our data team and the European data journalism team shows that it's widespread over the whole European continent. We found that 98% of all people who live here live in high concentration levels of this kind of air pollution. But it is the most severe in northern Italy, hotspots like Milan and so on. It's also quite high in major coal-producing areas of Poland, major cities like Barcelona in Spain, Athens in Greece, and large parts of Central Europe. So they have also shown problematic levels of this kind of air pollution. So the kind of air pollution we're talking about and our team looked into is fine particulate matter. It's a combination of very small solid particles and liquid particles from different materials and pollutants. It's invisible to the naked eye, and it's very fine, very thin, 30 times thinner than a strand of hair. So it's the kind of pollution you don't really see, but only observe how problematic it is in the after effects. For comparison, in Milan, the levels of this pollution are 4 times higher than what the World Health Organization recommends. The highest levels of this pollution are detected in the Indian subcontinent, Pakistan, India, and so on. And actually, in Sydney, in Australia, the PM levels are perfectly in line with the World Health Organization's recommendations.
That's good to hear. Now, what's been the response from the European Union and also policymakers?
Well, talking about the European Union, air quality rules have been under discussion for a while. The EU allows a certain level of this polluting matter in Europe, and this is higher than what the WHO recommends, obviously. So I think the first step that they would take is to propose measures to reduce this significantly. Environmentalists in Europe are quite famous for urging for stricter policy, and they've come out yet again saying that air quality rules need to be in line with health experts' recommendations. But the truth often is that decisions are taken while thinking of the economy, and some analysts think it's too expensive to perhaps implement big changes. EU parliamentarian Javi Lopez, however, described it as a slow-motion pandemic, and that sounds scary. Evidence shows that reducing this kind of pollution will save many thousands of lives. So many deaths in Europe each year are linked to pollution. So I think it has a lot to do with policies of individual member countries in Europe. For example, in southern Poland, which is one of the most concerning areas, levels are falling after coal furnaces were removed. So I think policy plays a huge role.
And Warda, how have people responded to this study?
Well, that's a bit of a tricky question. For some people, the pollution problem is so much more obvious. Cyclists, for example, have been impacted severely by air pollution and have discovered lung-related or respiratory problems at a very young age or later in life. For others, it took years to realize and recognize how big this problem is. So I think there is a bridge between what science and data says we ought to do and what we actually do in our daily lives. More awareness, information can obviously help the case. And there's change. Recent surveys show that residents in the European Union are taking it seriously. But how willing they are to make changes is yet to be seen.
Deutsche Welle correspondent Warda Imran, thank you. As a